Be the first to know. Nsem-Pii TV.
2024 elections na eba be prove aye elections bi a say yen hu bi da e wa Ghana ha na adenti ne kasa elections eba in Ghana since 1996 2000s nkofo kwa koto about a specific area unim de wa vote no ebeko but His Excellency Nana-Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo with the overarching vision for free SHS and grassroots constituency development plan on the buy say one district, one factory, one constituency, one dam, one constituency, one ambulance. Nessa niemana a court to the grassroots, a cause confusion at areas in poor. Nankayatimu say na omotu omoba. Ebi any the voter region. Who North Honorable Peter Amewu constituency Edane even who South and so Ketu North nina issues brulu hono enyasem ketwa all because of massive developmental projects also in these various districts and constituencies. Cause confusion say party na mediate and here and as a party edemebe school for free na metimi daachi bi metimi di mensa ye adwuma so obi kura from adwuma kura metimi kinkan etimi ready incident etimi tro intimi a metimi create adwuma bi ayeden aka me ho say fu kura na me dokura pa metimi the marketing kura ko aka ho na makomani eno ne one cause confusion was strongholds of the NDC. Another one drip sa project here His Excellency Nana-Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo the tractors akwakoye kwan for years and years and years upper manya krobo omedi NDC chi afede omunya third road His Excellency Nana-Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo the sa constituency project yakọ no ama intokwa isiona intokwa ne yeden say the new patriotic party government the some major project yaba NDC parliamentary candidate NTC or say president on person biya di posters or the Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and His Excellency Nana-Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo posters ebohun na nkrofo no mu se na ban ene eya momo enti eden ati omone ntokwa na se ye bi ye di ja ebetum ni de kekaka ho ye ko pie mu odwabeya and a stronghold of the new patriotic party now so oman taking it for granted because one Nana Otuo Serebo the second Juaben Hini Edin Simbia to draw out Musa even places say support strongholds of the new patriotic party no Obama development in the iron alcohol also one or share the whole country STEM schools, science, technology, engineering, mathematics schools are His Excellency Nana-Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo isi 6 the whole nation now so dropping in your back Omun taking it for granted. Secondly, a drizzle to Juaben roads nina ye totally tired because we be a banya nya a bed say individuals betimi ISR major project. It's a road project. Dia buying to me ya omuna omini so because one if through a turn of the past and I want so much see a dining so much minya quite a painting at the other developmental projects just shops ebe keka ho road ema ele omusika sem ele ekoso o se ohwa anso omenya quarter so munya asem obi bokro no ana asem ba enya ade aye de kokuru fufuro so akwakodi ohwa omutimi ye de sentence nipa no e de asem no eba into an expected end into the sanity about legal system the catch no say first that chrono so sa akoso kra e was our community but the massive developmental street lighter His Excellency Nana-Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo through Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia supported by the Minister of Energy Dr. Matthew Prempe at the Abasa community no omeni so enti going into 2024 elections and ya dia be ka say we am party we na me to omo hwe impuntuo at the various areas and they kwa kotoba na the overarching policy say bibia ama ebibia ayade adani blue in Republic of Ghana the free SHS free TVET policy. Yengo te na otuo trebo the second. And even Zongo chiefs come kase. Nkofo bebre cry dream say Zongo di ye NDC. But this time no dey aire asesa entesa enye Zongo ni bia the National Democratic Congress. Yengo tie so dey call so ewo Afran Plains. Ena Juaben mra Dr. Matthew Poku Prempe ekopie mu ewo.
One on my baby. I said that akwa pama na mami. Nim say emre bedu no. Operation kra no. Ye be ye bi wa ha. Yo! Mama ye court. Aya no nso so. Samre ye di asem wa ha no mo. E di nipa tum. Se si ye ya make say. Say emre ba say o che hospital. Na o che court die no. Wa man e wire mfiri ye. Na o kaye ye. Na me gyan o man nyina nam. Nam dia sida kese ama owura napo. Say nka campaign kwa na start sheshe. Baby a wasa okọ ni nyina wo nkoi. Na wajai na obeka ye ho e wa ha. Enokro mi nie. Do wa ye na asomani.
MPP ba ye anye bia ye wa alaji for me ensa na na do adam ma o ma komeka aba free. Na ye suku dan da se bre ma ya sase. No kwasem ni ye wura sapon sa do ona no ya assembly man. E na oba ne ye bedi nkoma. Ani na awotwekura na anyagu ye ho any cement. Sisi aye wo from P1 to JSS. Ayana de ambiance do abi as Zongo for the omo NDC for nye nyina o. Ni nyina ye party de enso nye nyina. Nti ye stresse. Bra na nanom atena se aye wura wo ba de wona alaji ba omo ya de ye hwemanim. Bra me mara alaji ko meka no wo se alaji ba omo ya papa no no ye asa we ambassador to Saudi Arabia no sra on pa. Enti papa ne sra wo sra na ne papa suba no ye nyame wo hira no
dabe ha nema na kufa do ba wa ya mayen mfie nso ko mfie nwotwe mu de di kai efrise Ghana e ba ye da bia nanka assembly de eye ajusu Juaben ne ajusu fo na ye assembly ba ko bibi ba ne ko se jusu a ebeduru ha no ne ya chawie anso na do bae o ma yen wan court district kra o ko municipal straight o ma municipal assembly ya kwai o free ajuso ba Juaben a asphalt todo na do lan kwakufa do ne ama papa obu nti wa ye kwai amayen asphalt wa ye no o kabomu a e kwa bof kwasi be nwotwe e wo Juaben efitre bia a say Juaben de mfuturo de futuro de oba na so opa bi ata onya bi nto de e de kra so ne say be bosumini na aban o kra mfidie so de ba ama mansi bia nya mfidie de yakwai ne so ade na kwai Juaben make say asisi ha bulldozer roller grader tipper truck ariabo water tanker ni nyina ba ye be ye mfitre ne ye kura so ka nyina ye wura na do kwade free education ba no ye nkwara ne pi akọ school say Juaben ha sabe nkwara ye nko school e bia ni ho de fe ne say aban ACB ye friend no model STEM JSS Ghana nyina osiba insiape Juaben yenya model STEM JSS no ba ko a yesi ewie ukọ ya Juaben senior high school a dormitory yesi assembly block assembly hall and guys dormitories classroom blocks nyina no abaya da Roma osi amayen na mina na podie de opa ade akokotoko yenye na bro na wodie so ne wodie yenim deda yenim de waya man yenim de na do ranko akufado waya ma Juaben man nti ebradu duru ho a wo hwe ase de nipa kra nansuo ta ejiramu a yankoye sabe wo campaign ye ba bia kona koye
this statement a dollar to see was 3 cities and above or about 3 cities 4 cities right thank you 2024 a dollar to a city is 15 Ghana cedis about 15 Ghana cedis okay over 15 Ghana cedis thank you how do I explain this to my mother a cocoa seller, that in 2014, the fundamentals were weak. In 2024, where a dollar is now 15 cedis, the fundamentals are not weak, but the prices of goods and services are high today. Thank you.
So the other question, the nice one Vanessa was asking, if the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you, which is a truism. It was true then, and it's still true today. It's an economic truism that once the fundamentals weaken, you will see the impact on the exchange rate fundamentally. And when we talk about many of these fundamentals, you're talking about the GDP growth rate, you're talking about the fiscal balance, you're talking about the exchange, the reserves, level of the reserves that you have, inflation, and so on. When we came into office, during the first term before we hit COVID, between 2017 and 2019, you saw the fundamentals pretty much strengthening by all accounts. And the exchange rate depreciated in those 3 years by less than 5%. That was the lowest depreciation in the currency for 28 years. 28 years. That was the lowest depreciation of the currency. I think we went up, even after COVID, we didn't get that high a depreciation. But the biggest shock for the economy came in 2022. All hell was breaking loose in 2022. Inflation, 54% as at November 2022. Exchange rate had depreciated at 54%. And of course, you could look at the fundamentals were in trouble at that time. You saw the fiscal deficit going up, you saw inflation going up, growth declining. And so for me, it wasn't surprising, if it was shocking, the extent to which the exchange rate went. So the point that we are making is that once the fundamentals weaken, you will get it shown in the exchange rate. And this is why we have seen that recently, even though we were depreciating in November at 54%, this year the depreciation has been 18.6% so far, right? We're looking at about 18.6%. So you are looking at a situation this year. Why is the depreciation lower? Because the fundamentals have strengthened. Fiscal deficit is under 5%. We are running a primary surplus. Growth has gone up first quarter to 4.7%, higher than projected. The reserves are increasing, and the gold for oil program is helping. So as the fundamentals and inflation today is around 20%, so there's been a strengthening of the fundamentals, and you've also seen more relative exchange rate stability. In all of this, and I want you to take this away. When I look at what was happening in 2022, the 54% depreciation of the cedi, it was very scary. In fact, in 2022, this economy was on the verge of collapse, because you saw our reserves declining very steeply. The exchange rate was blowing up, inflation was up, and my worry at that time, frankly, was that I could see this country moving towards Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka was what was clearly in my mind at that time, because you saw protests in Sri Lanka. They had no fuel. Jumso was there, and when you saw the way our reserves were moving in 2022, we were heading right in that direction, that we were going to get queues on the street. We couldn't buy fuel, we couldn't pay for so many things. And it was in that context that I came up with two policies. One was the gold for oil policy and the gold purchase program of the Bank of Ghana. Because when I looked at it, you know, sometimes when they say necessity is the mother of invention, because when I looked at it, we were headed for disaster, you know. But I made the case. I looked at the numbers, and I said, well, how are we going to get foreign exchange to buy fuel? Is declining reserves. And then I looked at gold. I said, let's take a look at gold. I looked at the reserves of gold that we had, and it was 8.7 tons. 8.7. That is from independence to 2022. Our gold reserves were 8.7 tons. 8.7. I mean, when you looked at the US, they had 8,000 tons in gold reserves. The UK, Germany, France, you know, all above 2,000, 3,000 tons. And Ghana, the largest gold producer in Africa, had 8.7 tons. So I said this is something that we need to change. And so Ghana needs to start, because the thing about gold for us is that we don't have to export anything to get gold. If we have cedis, we'll buy gold right here locally. So we can use our cedis to buy gold without needing to export cocoa or oil or diamonds or timber. We just buy the gold locally. What we have that many countries don't have. It's just something that many countries don't have that opportunity to do so. So I then came up with that idea that let's do, instead of, since we don't have forex at the bank to pay for oil, let's use gold. And therefore we went into this gold for oil and gold purchase program for reserves. And what is very, very interesting, frankly, without this gold for oil, the gold purchase program, this economy would have collapsed. There's no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind. Why do I say so? In the last couple of years, Bank of Ghana under the gold purchase program has been able to buy $5 billion of gold. $5 billion of gold. Think about it. We've gone to the IMF to look for $3 billion, which is going to be paid over 3 years. And this is why we are going through. But locally, we've been able to buy $5 billion. And this is why there are no queues for petrol. This is why Dumso has not happened in Ghana. Because otherwise, where would you have gotten $5 billion from your reserves? Where would you have gotten $5 billion from your reserves to keep up all the payments you needed to make? So that has been, for us, the game changer. And so the pilot that we are seeing with the gold purchase program and the gold for oil program, I want to institutionalize it going forward. And this is why, by the grace of God, when I am president next year, we are going to institutionalize this. Someone asked me, oh, why is it that the French West African countries have not seen depreciations in their currency? Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, and all of these. I said, well, they are anchored. The currency is anchored to the euro through the French franc. So they are anchored. Unfortunately for Ghana, we don't have an anchor. There is no anchor for the city. So what I am going to introduce, what I want to institutionalize, is something that we have learned from this crisis. You will not find it in any textbook. Maybe some people will now write it in a textbook. You won't find it in a textbook. It's not in a textbook. So what I'm going to do is fairly simple, as I said, but we have had to learn about it, because what we are going to do is to say that if you want foreign exchange, and we've tried it already, the pilot with some of the big companies. One big company had 3.1 billion Ghana cedis. They wanted to externalize.